To clean your LC9, you need a few things to get started. Some frog glued CLP, bore cleaner, bore brush, nylon toothbrush, a bore snake, patch holder attachment, patches, a punch, cotton swabs, and a cleaning rod. Before you get started, you'll need to clear your weapon. Make sure there's no ammunition anywhere around your work area. Remove the magazine, pull the slide back, lock it to the rear, inspect the chamber, make sure there's no ammunition inside, visually inspect and physically inspect. Once it's clear, you can get started. To remove the slide, you'll need to push that lever down on the left-hand side. Use the punch to push the roll pin out from right to left. Remember to pull the slide back just a little bit to where it's barely out of battery for that roll pin to be able to come out. The slide should come right off. Remove the recoil spring, push it from chamber end to muzzle end, it'll pop right out. Remove the spring from the guide rod. There's actually two springs. It just looks like one spring from here. Remove the barrel locking block. Now take your bore brush and screw it onto the cleaning rod. Wet it with some solvent. Go ahead and soak your barrel down with solvent as well. Now push the bore brush from chamber end to muzzle end about 6 times. I don't go back and forth. I push it from chamber to muzzle once, take the brush off, pull the rod out, and start again. I don't want to pull any fouling back into the barrel once it's pushed out. I want it all coming out the muzzle end, same way the bullet comes out. Do that 6 times. Then put on your patch attachment, or whatever it's called, the thing that holds the patches. Spray the first few patches down with bore cleaner, pass it through, same as your brush, from chamber end to muzzle end. Now I don't put a number on this, but it depends on how dirty it is. I just keep passing patches through until it starts to come out clean. When it starts to come out almost clean, then I'll stop using the bore cleaner and just use dry patches and run it through. Now here's where I like to go above and beyond what the manufacturer recommends. I use a bore snake. I pull it through at least 6 times at a minimum, depending on how much I shoot. Now I use a nylon toothbrush and some CLP and scrub all the fouling off the barrel. I usually do this before I clean the bore, but in this case I'm doing it afterward. Same result. Use a nylon brush, scrub it really well, get all the cracks and crevices. When you're done with that, use a rag or cleaning patches and polish all the CLP off. When you're done doing that, the finish will look just like new. Now start on the slide. Use your nylon toothbrush, get some CLP. Now frog loop CLP goes a long way, so you just need a little on the toothbrush. Get all the internal and external surfaces and pay particular attention to the rails. After you've scrubbed it down with CLP, polish off all the residue. You don't want to see anything running off the slide, no grease, just nothing excessive. Make sure it's nice and clean. Everything needs to be smooth. You can use cleaning patches, cotton swabs, or a lint-free rag, or a combination of all three. That's what I actually use. As you can see here, I use cleaning patches and the toothbrush to get into the rails. I do that a few times, then I go through it with cotton swabs. The last thing I do before reassembly is lube the rails. I want to make sure these are in perfect working order. I take a little CLP or a dedicated lubricant, put it on the cotton swab, and just rub it on the rails. I just leave a light film, nothing that's going to run. Now clean the recoil spring. Spray it down with bore cleaner, wipe it down, then use a little CLP or dedicated lubricant. Polish it off with a rag. Do the same with a guide rod. Now just go through everything with a Q-tip or a cleaning patch and just make sure you got everything. Go over every last detail, every nook and cranny, every little space. Make sure there's no grime left over, no dirt, no fouling. It's got to be perfect, especially if you carry it. Let's not forget the magazine. Spray it down with bore cleaner, wet your toothbrush with bore cleaner, scrub it really well. Pay particular attention to the follower, the top of the follower, and the feed lips. Wipe all the bore cleaner off and go light with some CLP or dedicated lubricant. Just make sure you don't use too much to where it may get inside the magazine. You don't want that. It's just going to attract grime, especially if you're using it out in the field. As soon as you drop your mag, dust will start collecting inside. And that's what you don't want. If you do get it dirty, it's easy to break down. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to do an exterior cleaning of the magazine. Now let's reassemble. Put the barrel locking block back in. Make sure it seats properly. Put your recoil spring and guide rod back in. Put the slide back on. To put the pin back in, pull the slide back just a little bit, just to where it's out of battery, enough to line up the pinhole. Push the pin in from the left side to the right, then push that lever back up that holds the pin. Remember to always do a function check. Pull the trigger, hold the trigger, work the slide, release the trigger, you should hear a click, pull it again, you should hear another click. If it works, you're good to go.